Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to my sister-in-law, Jessica. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Jesse.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay! And welcome to everyone else that is having a birthday or not having a birthday to the greatest horror movie review podcast in this multiverse and beyond. Beyond.
That was like the ultimate Patreon patron shout out, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
Because Jesse is a Patreon patron.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Get a song sung at you.
You got a song, got the opening.
Pretty good. Why, it's Dad and Lovely here with your two best buds. It's the host with the most. It's me, Uncle Ben.
And your host with the least amount of not coolness, Hollywood Steve.
And now your cool runneth over.
Yeah. Too much cool.
It's pretty impressive, Steve. How you been doing this week, man?
Been doing good.
We are apparently in the season of Christendom now.
Yeah, it's getting cold.
Yeah, baby, it's cold outside.
Yep. So you should stay in here with this guy who's trying to get you to drink more drinks. Just
make some bad decisions.
Hey.
Beats being cold, am I right?
Yeah, it's cold out there, so drink more.
Let a stranger enter you.
Let a stranger enter you.
How you been doing this week in this cold Christmas time season, Steve?
It's been good. I've been chilling
Decking
out.
the halls.
Decking the halls. Doing all the cool stuff. Watched some great football over the Thanksgiving. I mean, we're recording this a little after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I watched some great football that week. Yep. I've been really just relaxing, enjoying myself, having a good old time, and working out.
Awesome, man. Getting shredded, huh?
Yeah, I mean...
What are you down to now? How much have you lost?
I haven't lost...
What's your pound count?
I have not lost any weight in a month.
Yeah?
And I think I've figured it out, hopefully.
What it is.
I wasn't keeping strict track of my carbs.
Okay.
So I think
you're pretty rigorous around the carb count, other than when we get a pull on the show.
Yeah, I know. And I was getting too many pulls.
Wow.
I think. So anyway, I'm at 225,
Damn,
which
look at you.
is 65 pounds lost.
Damn.
But also is not a good healthy weight. Unless I was like jacked.
All
but
right.
I'm not. You can see me currently.
The people listening, they can't.
So I'm like jacked.
Totally shredded.
Target weight 225. Done. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, I'm sure you'll get back on the right track.
Yeah.
And get yourself that beach bod in no time.
Yeah, it was really disheartening for that month because I was still, working out and still dieting, and it was like, wait, I'm working out and dieting and not losing weight? That sucks. So if I stopped working out and dieting, I'd start gaining weight? That sounds like I'm going to have to do this the rest of my life. Am I just old?
Let me just put out just a wild card suggestion here. I noticed you just said you were working out, you were eating healthy, all those kinds of things. I don't know if you've been praying.
Shit.
Have you forgot to pray?
You know what? I was taking my vitamins, but I forgot to pray.
Not saying your prayers. That's only half the equation, buckaroo, little Hulkster.
Have I talked about this? My first foray into working out was as a 4-year-old when I got the Hulk Hogan workout set. And it came with weights and a jump rope and this poster that had different exercises to do. So that's when I started getting jacked.
Dude, you've been getting just fucking pumped your whole life, I guess. It's pretty badass. So this takes you back to being a kid again, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what you're still working out with at home?
Yeah.
The jump rope?
I got those 2 5-pound blue weights, a jump rope, and a poster on my wall that tells me to do sit-ups.
I just can't figure out why you're not losing pounds. They're just dropping off of you. I can't figure it out. Can't make heads nor tails of it.
I don't know why I don't have 24-inch pythons already.
I've got barely a green snake if I've got anything. I got worms.
Old green snake arm.
Yeah, that's me. Black snake moan, green snake arm.
That's the sequel.
You been watching anything good?
Yeah. I've been all on watching The Office.
Yeah, you're still cooking it, huh?
Oh, yeah, because it's 2,645 episodes or something.
Is it No, it's not literally,
No.
is it?
No.
I was like, wait, how many seasons would that
I
be?
think it's like
It's
8.
been on 200 years.
I think it's like 8 seasons that are around 20 plus each.
The math checks out.
So
that's what you said.
that's about it,
It's about
yeah.
2,000.
Yep.
Wow. So where are you at season-wise now?
6. So I'm coming close.
Make some
to you.
headway.
Yeah.
Are you
And-
loving it?
Yeah, I mean it's I still wouldn't place it even in my top 10 of shows, but like it's it is a good show. I get why people like it so much and why it's like Netflix's most streamed content.
Wow, is it really?
Yeah. Basically Netflix is where you go for The Office. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
I still like the cringe stuff. Just it doesn't make me laugh.
Yeah, you get that. You get that
Yeah.
empathetic awkwardness off of it.
Yeah,
It doesn't work for you.
Yeah, but there's enough like actual like good humor in every episode that it's fun to watch.
Did you watch that newest Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving
Yes,
episode?
I did.
Fuck,
Yeah.
it's so good, man.
Yeah, the best Thanksgiving episodes of any show, Bob's Burgers, because
Yeah.
I feel Bob.
Totally.
I'm the same way as him. I would want, I do want every Thanksgiving dinner to be like awesome and perfect, and that's all he wants, and he never gets it
Yeah.
ever. Poor guy.
We watched through, I think, about all of them before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about how great that one where he's trying to do like Teddy's Thanksgiving for
Uh-huh.
him, but they found out Teddy's like a hoarder.
Yes.
God, dude. They're all fantastic. You're right. It probably does have the best Thanksgivings of any series.
Yeah.
Up there with Friends. They got some bangers.
I never really got into
Fuck
Friends.
you then.
Yeah, I remember somebody having a turkey on their head. Is that a thing?
That did happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
actually
I've
been
seen a few of them.
2 persons that ended up with turkeys on their heads.
What?
Uh-huh.
Is one of them Joey?
One of them's Joey.
Okay, and I'm gonna guess Phoebe.
No,
Okay.
she's a vegetarian. She wouldn't do that.
Oh, good point.
It was a
yeah.
Monica.
Monica.
Yeah.
Oh.
She came to Chandler's door with a turkey on her head, and that's the first time he said, "I love you."
Aw.
Yeah, you look ridiculous. I love you.
But like he said it in a snarky Chandler way, where he was like,
Could I love you
I
anymore?
don't love you, not.
It was pretty much that
Yeah.
funny. It really, really was. That's
Chandler
pretty
did
cool.
a lot of not jokes, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
it's
I'd like to get a pull to having the Thanksgiving holiday behind us. Now we're here in the season.
Oh, wait, but we've already opened
Christmas.
the can. Hold on.
Yeah. Crack.
Yep.
We just opened ourselves up here a big old crowler of a pretentious beer called Who Lives on Drury Lane. This is one that Hope and Carly recommended to me to have for the
Yeah.
show this week. It being the
And
Christmas
they know what
season.
they're talking about.
Yeah, dude. And Hope is like leaving. This is her last week.
Seriously?
Yeah, Hope's
Oh, that's a shame.
Hope's girlfriend got a really bitchin' job in like Paris, Tennessee, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
So they're moving there.
Ugh,
Yeah.
That sounds terrible, but it also sounds fun.
I know. It sounds like it's a pretty sweet deal, so I'll
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah, allowed.
I'll allow it.
Paris allowed.
They recommended that we have this in here. It is a brown ale
Yeah.
that is brewed with like gingerbread stuff.
Now, I tend to like a brown ale. It's always comforting to me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like beer.
Just tastes like beer.
Tastes like
yeah.
beer. And I could see how the addition of molasses and clove and ginger and stuff could work pretty well.
So wait, they used actual gingerbread or they used gingerbread ingredients?
I
Do you
think
know?
it's gingerbread ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like they added in gingerbread extract. Like they used
Right.
actual ginger and cloves and stuff like that.
'Cause
See
it
what that
smells
does for you.
great.
It smells really good, and
Yeah.
it's a very dark brown ale. It's not like
Yeah.
a light colored one at all. Very dark, very chestnutty. Hopefully this will hook us up pretty damn good. It's 5% or not too heavy.
That is not heavy.
What do you think about that?
Okay, it's got the spiciness, but it's not like 'cause
Oh.
the thing that you would expect because it's so dark and is you'd expect it to be like a heavier flavor, but it's
Totally.
real light.
The aftertaste is really nice.
Yeah.
Kind of initially, I got a big old punch of clove right at the front of that.
Yeah, it hits you with the clove and then all the other stuff sort of
The
comes
molasses
out.
and stuff, especially. You really get that later on in the ginger. That's pretty fucking good.
I like that it's light too and it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could totally get smashed with
For
these
real.
by the fireside this Christmas season.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like fucking Christmas whatsoever. I don't
No,
know about
that's
you.
kind of zoomed in on us, huh?
Yeah.
Just, where'd that come from?
Well, we had such a late Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is on like the 28th or something this year.
Yeah.
You know, I think last year we had like one of those like 5.5 week long Christmas seasons, but this time it's like, well, Christmas is coming
Short
up.
Christmas.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've not decked the halls. We've not caroled. We've not done anything.
Wow. And you guys love caroling.
We do it all the time. It's everywhere.
And
people love it.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
So yeah,
you
maybe
sing "Oh Holy Night" and you really hit that.
Holy Night.
You hit that high note. On your knees.
I kill it.
Yeah.
Every year I'd be out there slaying that thing, man. Yeah, maybe I'll get more in the Christmas spirit as we watch some of our favorite Christmas movies and stuff like that. We've got a Christmas horror movie we're doing next week, which I'm already very excited about too.
Krampus.
Yeah, which is so fun. I think we just watched that maybe last year.
The porn version, Krampus.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Krampus is.
Is it not good?
No, it's great.
Okay, all right.
You just won't be prepared for the podcast.
Yeah,
You'll be like, why are they talking about Adam Scott and Toni Collette instead of Adam Hot and Boney Collette?
Yeah, Bone Me Collette. She's
Bone
called.
Me Collette, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's Vietnamese, so it's Bon Me Collette.
Bon Me Collette.
Yeah.
It's like a sandwich you fuck. What?
It's like a sandwich you fuck.
Yeah, that's it. Dude, I've been watching more of that Mandalorian as it's come out.
Yeah, I have some questions about Mandalorian.
You've not watched none of it.
I haven't.
As we record
and I
this,
want to see it.
Episode 4 has just come out, so we're not super deep into the show yet.
And trust me that what I'm going to say is not changing the fact that I want to see it and think it will be good.
It's awesome.
But I want to review when The Force Awakens was too much like the original New Hope.
People got mad about that.
People got mad about it. When The Last Jedi was too different, people got mad about it.
Oh, yeah. There's a very narrow window of Star Wars being liked by the fans.
Okay, now, we always have assumed that was some intelligent window. Some, like, they're very knowledgeable about the universe and really want very specific, like, good stories about these already great, like, tensions that are happening throughout this universe.
The rich past of the Star Wars universe.
Right. And the thing that all the Force Awakens and Last Jedi haters can get on board with is they love The Mandalorian. A show that I will describe to you now as rip-off Boba Fett and a baby version of a character from the originals.
Okay, when you put it that way, it sounds very unflattering. Okay,
and it also sounds like everybody's commentary on Force Awakens and Last Jedi is kind of bullshit. And what you really want is
boys.
Because you don't care that Boba Fett, first off, not even cool. Let's all fucking put that out there. Boba Fett couldn't shoot well and immediately fell into the Sarlacc pit. He was bad at his job.
He had a hard time of it.
And all of the goddamn clones of him were terrible at shooting their blasters.
Now that was unfortunate.
So we have millions of examples of how sucky he was at being a bounty hunter. And then we have rip off him.
Yeah.
And a the fucking Muppet baby version.
Muppet baby version.
The Muppet baby version. Because it's a Jim Henson Muppet and it's the baby version.
It's a Muppet baby.
It's a Muppet baby.
Okay. All right.
So again, I don't have any of these problems with Star Wars. So me watching The Mandalorian, it's like, yeah, rip off Boba Fett and Baby Muppet. Fine. I'm fine with
I'm
that.
on board.
But what I'm saying is all you fucking fart sniffers out there who are like, oh, The Force Awakens, let me rip it apart. You're not ripping shit apart.
Well, and too, I guess when you get down to it, it is kind of funny how, okay, obviously, original trilogy, Ewoks, cute little creatures.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans got mad.
Yeah, they got mad.
Although
the people who were kids then are not mad about it.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then, with the prequels, Jar Jar and all the cute little things in there, people got super pissed
the people
about.
That were kids then, not mad about it.
Yeah. And then in the new ones, we've also had little porgs.
Yeah.
Got a lot of the nerds really mad.
Cute, right?
Yeah, they're adorable.
I bet little kids, not mad about it. But Baby Yoda
seems to have brought us all together. That thing's so goddamn cute.
And really pulls out the bullshit of the arguments, though. It really does.
I totally
it's
see what
almost
you
like
mean.
dropping, like the charcoal they use whenever people OD or like to get shit out of your stomach.
Okay.
It's like Baby Yoda was the charcoal in the stomach of Star Wars
Nerds.
fandom. And what it did was just suck up all the bullshit and say, okay, so that was all bullshit, right?
Just to be clear.
Because Baby Yoda and Rip-Off Boba Fett are your favorite things now.
You're cool with them, though, right?
You're super cool with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
You weren't cool when Han Solo was being trotted out because he was an old man. But if he had been a baby version, if they did Baby Solo, people would love it.
I'd be okay
If
with
it was
that.
if it was Baby Solo being carried around by teenage Chewbacca, people would love it.
It'd
people
be
would
adorable.
love it. Yeah.
Dude, I can't lie. Your assumptions are not off base.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you, it is a much more fun to watch show than the description
I know.
of
It's like
rip-off
yeah,
Boba
it's
Fett
like
and Baby
a
Yoda.
space western. I'm excited.
really is.
And it's got Pedro Pascal, who's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I've been amazed by how much emotion they're able to display on a character whose face you can't see.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
that they got Pedro Pascal to play a character whose
Total
face
hunk.
you can't. Yeah.
Total fucking hunk. It's like Dr. Doom in that thing.
Seriously.
You got a good point, though, man.
By the way, that'd be a good person to play Dr. Doom, maybe. Yeah.
Probably be all right. But you're not wrong, man. Yeah, just the fact that everybody got so pissy every time there's something else that's cute, but when it's a little baby Yoda.
Yeah, then it's
All right, then.
Yeah, because we love Yoda because he was cute. That's why we loved Yoda.
Yeah.
When we first saw him, we all thought fucking cute. So let's just admit the cutesy parts are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with a ball droid. It's cute and it looks great.
Totally.
So fucking enjoy it.
Deal with it.
It's all for kids. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, let's not forget. Let's not forget that. I'll tell you what, I watched another thing, what had interstellar travel and aliens and Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith in it.
Was it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It was Men in
he's not in
Black.
Men in Black.
The original one.
Yeah.
Kate just kind of put that on arbitrarily the other night. So I was like
seen that
editing video
kind
or
of
something.
recently. Well, it was at a holiday. I remember watching it at my in-laws, like in their living room, and holds up. I think, right?
It totally does.
Yeah.
It totally
Still
does,
good.
man. Yeah. It's still a really fun watch. I think the guy that wrote it is from Knoxville, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he?
I heard that a long time ago. I can't confirm that. Yeah. But dude, it totally still does hold up. Like, it's still full of great performances and stuff. Special effects still looking pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
man.
they do. They do.
Like they totally wisely used, models and animatronics for a lot of
Yes.
it. And anytime stuff was full CGI,
Yeah.
like the big cockroach guy, mostly at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's wet. It's like lit very hard,
It still looks pretty good.
It really does,
Yeah.
man. And just still a fun watch. That's
Yeah,
one of
it's a
those ones
fun
that
movie.
kind of blew by. Like, I got done editing this video project here, and I turned around, and she's like, 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, well, do you want to watch something else? She just kind of put that on because she was waiting on me, And then it was like, I don't know, maybe we just watch the rest of this. Turns out, that's a good move, man. Pretty damn good move.
choice.
So I've been enjoying that. You've been watching some other Netflix treats here. You've been watching some of these new things they've had coming out.
Yeah, I watched The Toys That Made Us. The new season, I watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode.
I'm dying to watch this shit, dude.
Yeah, and you know how like The Toys That Made Us and their new one, The Movies That Made Us.
Also, can't wait to watch that.
They have that like formulaic like. Did you ever see Unwrapped on Food Network with Mark Summers?
Mark Summers, yeah. The obsessive compulsive Mark Summers.
And you know how like formulaic that is? Like they have 3 things they're going to talk about. They're going to go to these different candy factories, and they're going to show all the same things about the candy factories.
Tell you the history of it.
Yeah, and then one unique thing or whatever. And the Toys That Made Us kind of does the same thing. It just kind of has a formula of like how they're going to present the story, and it works.
I'm fine with that,
Because
man.
that is true of most success stories, is that there were some roadblocks, they got past them, and then boom.
Twilight,
yeah. Exactly. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had something a little bit different because Eastman and Laird, who created Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hadn't talked in like 2 decades, and they like brought them together.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude.
So that's interesting.
That's really cool.
Yeah. There's a little more like interpersonal struggle going on in that episode than you normally see in the Toys That Made Us. Because mostly it's about like, well, we went to Mattel and we went to Hasbro and yeah.
I think almost all of those start with like, well, it started in Japan and there was this character that was made for a greeting card.
Right.
Like Hello Kitty. Dude, there's so many like 80s children's toys that started, especially girls' toys.
Yeah.
That were formerly like a greeting card or some shit.
Yeah.
It's really strange. I don't know where the leap from stationery to toydom came from, but whatever. Did it give you like all the nostalgia for all the great Ninja Turtle toys you used to have?
Yeah. And when they were talking about just how much turnover they had, where they were just like, because Eastman and Laird got a percentage of like all the future sales, so they would just come up with ideas back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
This guy, that guy.
They go to space.
You remember, like,
they play sports.
You remember like the chef that had
the pizza face looking guy. Or no, it wasn't pizza face. That was a different guy. But yeah, the big nasty chef guy. Yeah.
And then like they had like the sports series.
There was like a giraffe that played basketball.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I totally remember those.
So they just kept coming up with more and more characters because it was like, well, they're selling.
I had.
Keep selling them.
Do you remember that one guy that lived like down in the sewers and he was like made of trash?
Yes.
And he had like a banana, peel for a nose or something like that. That guy was awesome.
That was I don't think that he was ever in the cartoon, was he?
I think most of those weren't in the cartoon. Yeah, they were just cool and part of the series.
Yeah, because the cartoon had a lot of just the original comic book sort of stuff to it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the original comic book, Shredder gets killed in the first issue. So,
really?
Yeah, the cartoon definitely is way different than the comic book.
I never read like the OG comic series.
Yeah.
I had some of the comics that came out like after the cartoon had been out, but I never read like the originals where they all had like red masks. Like they
were all black and white, so it wasn't even they didn't even have a color. But yeah, once they did get colored, they were all one singular color. So one of the introductions from the cartoon is the different colored masks and stuff.
Wow.
Which
how could they not think that up in the first place?
Yeah, like you're talking about turtles. Like, how are people going to tell them apart?
Yeah, no. Unless it was just supposed to be like a phalanx.
I'm
like
not trying to be speciesist, but a lot of turtles look alike.
Man, turtles all look alike. I can't tell them apart, none at all. Have to put some different colored little bandanas on them so I can even pick out which one's which. Now, which one of you tells the jokes?
This is if Master Splinter was a possum instead of a rat.
We're going to make the sewers great again.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. Yeah. Dude, do you remember, like, on the original line that was just, like, Leonardo, Donatello, and all those? They had, like, the plastic body, but the heads were that squishy rubber.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you could just, like, squish their heads. Or, like, when you'd play with them in the bath, like, you'd have to squeeze the water out of their heads and shit. Mm-hmm. Did you take your action figures on a lot of water missions?
Yes.
Yeah, I did, too.
Of course.
Ruined a lot of those fucking things.
Yeah. The water mission, I think, is like the height, isn't it?
That's the proving ground.
I don't know. Well, the sandbox missions, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are always bad because all that sand would get in the joints and stuff, and they'd move all creaky and crunchy and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd rather...
You could never... It was always like, you watch the commercial and you're like, yeah, I want to do that. But, like... your parents aren't going to build you a set to play with
turn your entire room into
I mean, now you would do it and it would make money on YouTube, but like before, what would be the impetus? Like
before YouTube, why do people even have kids?
That's a good question.
Why? I just don't get it. Why? You can't make money off the cute fucking videos.
I want to have me a little YouTube baby.
That's a good reason to form a human life, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Give me one of them YouTube babies.
For the lols.
For the lols.
Yeah, exactly. For the ad revenue and the lols.
I had a baby for the lols.
Have you gotten to watch any of that movies that made us yet? Because that seems like that's also going to be dynamite.
I did. I started the Ghostbusters one, and then I was like, I don't have the attention to give this right now. But... There's a Die Hard and a Home Alone one.
Oh my god, dude! I gotta watch the Home Alone one, especially considering this is the 1 year anniversary coming up of
the Home Alone episode and the 2 year anniversary of the Die Hard episode.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
you're right.
Our Christmas episodes are always the most fun.
They're always lit up, and this year's is gonna be huge. We're gonna be lucky if it's not 5 hours long.
Jesus,
we're gonna be lucky, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. Yeah, man, I gotta watch that shit. I'm dying to see it. Yeah, I think that new season of Toys That Made Us, don't they also do like something about like the wrestling toys or something?
Yeah, wrestling toys.
Fuck,
Yeah,
dude,
and
I have to watch
I had
that.
so many of those. Did you ever
Yeah.
have the thumb wrestler ones?
Yep.
Yep.
Totally, man.
I had a Hacksaw Jim Duggan one and Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Damn it, dude. Yeah, I definitely got to watch all that stuff and get caught up. Did you watch some of that new South Park?
I did. I hadn't really watched all of the newest season, and so
I don't
when
know if I'm
watched
caught
it,
up or not.
It's worth watching for sure.
I know we watched the Halloween special one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've watched the one that's after that. So yeah, I'm a couple episodes behind,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Has it been good for you so
Yeah,
far?
it's been really fun. That show they evolve well. I think they're always a little bit ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
They're always thinking just a little step further, so it's challenging. If you go back and watch, like I've had seasons of South Park where like I'll be slightly angry or not really agree with an episode, and then like go back and watch it a few years later and be like, yeah, no,
Actually, they were right.
yeah, they're probably right.
I love how on this one, Shelly has had her pot problem.
Yeah,
Which is-
that she doesn't want pot and
Yeah.
doesn't like it.
She's got a problem.
She's got a problem.
Yeah. It's been really good. She's like, everybody's fucking stupid enough already. She doesn't. She's not wrong.
She has a point,
She has a
but
point.
you know what's better? Stupid people who are relaxed
Yeah.
than stupid people who are tense.
Yeah.
Because then they start talking about people taking away their freedoms. And it's like, dude, nothing has been taken away from you.
Well, now that we can say Christmas again,
Yeah.
all right?
Finally.
Finally, we
God,
can say
the
Christmas
thing I love
again.
to say most, Christmas.
Ooh, the T sounds.
Christmas.
The T sounds really harsh in there.
Yeah.
Christmas.
I'm celebrating Chris Novoselic.
yeah, from Nirvana.
Yeah, from old Nirvana.
I celebrate him on the daily. He is truly a jewel in the musical crown of the alternative era.
Yep. Boom, 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 boom.
That's the line. That's
There you
what he
go.
did. Way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know what? We're going to be talking about Ravenous.
Ravenous.
On
So my wife was asked what we're doing this week. Kate asked earlier, and every time the first thing that comes to mind is The Revenant.
Yeah, it's not
It's
that
hard
movie.
for me to remember.
Did you watch that
Ravenous.
instead? Did you watch
I did.
DiCaprio getting dragged through
I
the
did.
snow?
Though we'll still have similar things to talk about.
That's the thing is, yeah, like they're not entirely dissimilar.
That's true.
Did you ever see The Revenant?
Yeah.
It's an
It's a
intense
brutal movie.
watch.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not one of those ones that I'm like,
It's got that Thomas Hardy in it.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not like rushing to watch it again. It's not
No.
fun at all.
No, but it was really good.
And I will totally be rushing to watch Ravenous again because it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah?
This is the first time that I've seen it, and this is a cannibal story. It's a story about
Cannibals.
people what eat people.
Hey, that feller looks tasty.
Maybe I get a bite out of him.
I'd have a bite of him.
Get in my face, dude. No, that's something else. I think that's something
in
else.
my face,
Yeah, I
dude.
think that's talking about something else.
Enter my mouth.
That's something you could say, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
You know what I was talking about? I was at a party recently hanging out with Mitch and Lucy and Josh and Brooke and a bunch of our couples friends and stuff. And for some reason, it just really struck me. I was like, Mitch, what would you do if next time that you and your wife were fooling around and you're getting ready to bust? And she was like, come on me, dude.
Oh no.
Like if your wife calls you dude during sex or,
Yeah.
or bro,
Yeah.
come on, dude, bust, bro.
Come on, bro.
If your wife said, bust on me, bro, what would you do? I would be so confused. I'd be
Yeah.
like, wait, we need to stop. What?
Yeah.
Bro?
Bro is not
Dude?
no. I mean, dude I don't love, but bro, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think homie. That would probably work for me.
Yeah, homie's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something about bro, that's not happening.
Let me get that nut, homie. All right.
All right. But anyway, this movie is about people what be eating people's flesh and blood and guts and
Nom, 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 nom.
things like that.
That looks tasty.
Nom, 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 nom. And this is not the first time that we've talked cannibalism here
Not
on the
even
show.
close.
Which you were reading off the list of cannibal flicks that we've done on the show already, and I was like, we've not done any. And it's like, yeah, we've done a lot.
We've done a
actually.
lot,
And we
yeah.
have done, I think, some of the better ones.
Yeah, I think we've done most of the best ones.
Although, strangely, we've not covered any of the most well-known ones.
Right.
So I say before we get into the movie Reviewski, how about we just stop on in at the Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
Oh, that was a remix.
Yeah.
Had a little twang to it right there.
Yeah.
And how about we just talk about some of our favorite cannibal flicks and also cannibal flicks that we've never seen. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
Which I have never seen.
I haven't either.
And I don't know if I'm that interested in seeing it, considering there's like actual like animal mutilation and stuff like that in there.
It is one of those movies that like is a huge stepping stone for horror. It's like that documentary style, like I guess sort of found footage.
Yeah. I mean, it way out Blair Witch, the Blair Witch. I mean, they had like the people that were in the movie that died like sign like an NDA and stuff and go into like seclusion for a year and shit and not do interviews and stuff. Like they really thought these people fucking died.
Yeah.
You know?
So that element of it is a big deal, I think. But
and a big step in marketing and stuff too, you know?
But yeah, the actual animal deaths and stuff like that.
Like here's the thing is like it seems like pretty unilaterally everybody's like, yeah, it was very important.
It's not good.
I don't know anybody that's like, dude, I love the movie.
Yeah.
It's so fucking great. I love Cannibal Holocaust. You know? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, every movie has its biggest fan and stuff, but I've never really
I would
met
assume
anybody.
Cannibal Holocaust is Eli Roth since he made Green Inferno.
And that one I can tell you, I've never met anyone who's liked. I've heard that's just fucking awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Cannibal
believe
Ferox, not ever seen that one either. I think that's just another kind of cannibal movie. I've not seen it. But again, not really sure much about it.
Have you seen Motel Hell, though?
No.
Okay. Motel Hell is one that I knew you hadn't seen that I know you will love. It's
how come?
80s slasher. It's everything you're going to love.
I love it already.
Check it out. I believe it might be on Shudder or Amazon Prime. I remember seeing it recently on one of those two.
All right.
But Motel Hell is a classic 80s, ridiculous, cannibal, over-the-top type of movie.
I assume it probably has something to do with a motel that lures in people and then they be eating them.
Oh, well, I mean, you may have seen the box cover to this. It's a motel that's called Motel Hello, but the O is out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that one's one worth checking out. Now, have you seen Parents?
Parents, yeah, dude. That movie
you
is
have seen this one. Okay, I thought you had not seen this one.
Whoa.
But yes, you have seen this.
That movie.
Randy Quaid.
Yeah. My good buddy Brandon Suttles.
Yeah.
Showed me that movie. Golly, that's like when we were like in college. It's been a long time, and like didn't really preface us with much anything, just other than saying, "Oh, it's a really cool movie. You should watch it." I felt so fucking weird after I watched that movie. It's kind of like
it's one I loved as a kid.
Dude, you saw it as a kid?
Yeah, and I think it has two specific ways of seeing it, and that is watching it as a kid and watching it as an adult. Because as a kid, there is an entire message directed at kids, and you get it one way. And then when you're an adult, you watch it and you're like, oh, I see. This movie's way different than I realized as a kid.
Well, see, for me, like watching it as a college-age kid, all that it did was like further freak me out about my long-standing and as of yet, not disproven.
It's true.
Childhood idea based on my dreams that my family were aliens. I was adopted, and they were raising me to eat me.
Yep.
So when I watched that movie, I was like, oh, God. It's like somebody read my mind, you know? It was like Hereditary or something.
Do you think maybe you inadvertently saw Parents and My Stepmother is an Alien back to back, and then you had a fever, so you don't remember it, but it all like boiled in your brain?
That's not impossible to think about, honestly. Yeah, because it's like if I was sick and, obviously I wouldn't have been allowed to watch that stuff when I was a kid because how conservative we were, but if
My
maybe like
an Alien, maybe one you saw as a kid, because that one was like family friendly.
Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't like horror.
But if I saw like a commercial, for that shit while I was on the couch with the flu or whatever, I totally could have like fever dreamed
just entered your head and became.
The Parents came out it came out in the 80s. It's like a mid-late 80s movie. That's a cool one. Good suggestion. I always forgot that was like a cannibal movie.
Now I don't think you've seen this one, and it's a remake of I believe Mexican movie. I'm not positive, but Spanish language film. It's called We Are What We Are.
No, I don't know that one.
I mentioned Larry Fessenden last episode. He's in it. It's got a lot of indie people you would recognize maybe. but
Okay.
it is a smaller movie, and I'd say there's some similarities to Ravenous in some ways, but also like imagine kind of if the family from The Hills Have Eyes were normal people.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is cool because like these movies that we're talking about, and even Ravenous, although it's in a different time period, kind of subvert a lot of the stuff that you think about when you think of cannibal movies.
Yeah,
like the typical
exactly.
thing when you think of cannibal horror are like undiscovered tribes in the Amazon and stuff like that.
Or
This
backwoods families like in
Right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But these are like domestic
Yeah, parents
cannibalism,
and yeah.
which is really cool.
Oh, wait, is there any indication of cannibalism in the burbs? I know they're like doing experiments or whatever. Anyway, there was
I
just
think so with the Klopex.
I think there was in the 80s this just idea of like, yeah, all that stuff we thought about backwoods people is actually kind of
Yeah, it snuck into the suburbs
everywhere.
and shit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
There was definitely, and I think just due to the suburban expansion of the 80s, we talked about it on the Poltergeist episode, I think there was just kind of this weird suburban horror thing that went through that decade.
I think it's a definite genre in the 80s for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's movies like It Follows kind of play off of it. It Follows is a suburban sort of thing, and then the Stranger Things, they kind of bring that back of just like, remember what it's like living in the suburbs, and a lot of us are like, no, I didn't. But yeah.
But I think the thing that makes that setting of the cannibal story happening in suburbia, I think so scary and so relevant is it's just a reminder of like how little we've actually grown and how close we are to being not civilized.
I mean, it's
at any time. You know what I mean?
The second biggest taboo in what's supposed to be the most ordered and safe area.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the first biggest taboo is incest for sure.
Sure.
Because there are reasons why you would be a cannibal. There's maybe one singular reason why you would commit incest, and that is you and your sister are the last people on Earth, and you just must repopulate. Like, you're like, no way I'm letting humanity die out. We gotta repopulate.
Gotta be something to be done
sis,
here.
let's do it.
But you know what? That's also going off the notion that all sperm and egg banks are wiped off the face of the earth too.
Yeah,
and
that neither one of you knows how to do IVF.
Yeah.
Though that is most likely that neither one of you
is
will
kind
know
of a
how to
likely
do
scenario.
That, but still.
So I like this idea of like cannibalism in the suburbs.
Yeah.
I think that's still one of those scary things. Like I said, it's just a reminder of how quickly we can become uncivilized again. And this movie kind of deals with some of that too.
Yes, it does. So mentioned Hills Have Eyes and Texas Chainsaw, which we've covered in the
show.
past.
And again, that's like weird backwoods, middle of nowhere, but still in civilized America.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like fucked up shit that's just waiting around at any corner.
Yeah. And you could say the same of Frontiers, which we did earlier this year, where it's some people going out into what's by the political spectrum of the movie, what these are supposed to be the good people out in the country. Turns out they're fucking Nazi cannibals.
Yeah. That was a grim movie.
That is a very
grim choice.
But then there is a movie like Raw that I think fits into like the We Are What We Are category, where these are cannibals who have fit in so perfectly that one of them doesn't even know that her mom and her sister are cannibals.
Dude. Raw is so awesome.
It's such a great movie.
That is a crazy flick, man.
Yeah.
It is definitely not for the weak of stomach, dude. There's some stuff in there that is just nasty. There is some nasty stuff in there. But I just think it is such a fascinating, well-made, and deep movie, you know?
Yeah.
We've done that. We did that on a show like a year and a half ago, something like that.
Sometime a year and a half.
But you know, again, it's like I look back on the history of the show and I'm like, that's one of my favorite new movies that I'd never seen that we've done.
Yeah.
I have also not watched it again since we did it.
I have, because Emily wanted to watch it before we watched the episode, but you haven't seen it since. It's been a long time.
Oh man, it nasty.
It's very nasty.
And French girls nasty. They don't even shave her pits and they eat their sister. Gross.
That's weird.
She'd have shaved her pits, it'd have been normal. It'd been fine. Again, this is Master Possum speaking again, obviously.
Master Possum's hanging out.
We're going to do a Master Possum t-shirt, I think.
Master Possum.
I think instead of wearing like the karate gi, he's wearing an old bathrobe.
Yeah, old bathrobe. But he's still doing a karate chop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Judy chop.
Judy chop.
Ninja chop.
Now, don't go ninja. People don't need ninja.
I don't need no ninja.
The last one I wanted to mention was Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
Because we've done it.
That's the closest cousin to this, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bone Tomahawk and some elements of We Are What We Are seem to take a little bit from this, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think what they're all working on is the actual tales of cannibalism in
the frontier. Yeah, the Western expansion.
Yeah, so they're dealing with actual historical events that some of which have been blown out of proportion, and some of which we'll never know exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
people gotta eat.
People gotta eat, but they don't want to admit they ate people.
Well, one thing that's cool that they barely touch on in this movie too, in terms of like talking about cannibalism and U.S. history and stuff. It's like, yeah, there's obvious stuff that we'll talk about, like the Donner Party and things, but
yeah,
there's also that scene towards the end of the movie where Ives is talking about how like they're gonna park it at this fort and like the gold rush is coming through.
Yeah.
And they're gonna just basically ride that wave and eat the people that come through and stuff.
Yeah.
But the way he kind of talks about it is, you know, it is this all-consuming horde that is covering this nation and destroying everything in its path.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a part of it. Almost as if like that wave of westward expansion and what they call it, manifest destiny and shit, which in itself was destroying actual human lives of the indigenous Americans that were there.
Yeah.
They were just consuming everything in their... the Americans were just consuming everything in their
Are we talking about Zombieland again?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Going straight back to Zombieland,
yeah.
Right. So I like, too, that they kind of put cannibalism in that kind of insight in this movie, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, Bone Tomahawk's definitely the closest cousin to this because of the time period and things. But, dude, this movie, I feel like Bone Tomahawk was trying to capture some of what this movie put out, because this movie came out in 99.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is
long time ago.
I would say a good bit ahead of movies that are similar to it and way different than a lot of the horror movies out at this time.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we did Session 9 last week from 2001, and we're doing this from 99. There are good late 90s, early 2000s horror movies. They're just lesser-known titles.
Yeah,
but there were definitely people thinking ahead of their time at this point, where if this had come out more recently, people would be talking about it, I think, in similar tones as they talk about other great indie horror movies, because it's a really good movie and really interesting and different than anything else that was out at the time.
And this is one of those flicks that has a really hardcore cult following.
It does. A lot of people really love this.
Yeah. You don't meet people all the time that are familiar with this flick that have seen it. It's not super common, but it's like the ones that know this movie and have enjoyed it really stick to it and just fucking really get into this flick. And I can see why now. This was the first time I ever watched this movie. This is the first time you saw it?
No, I saw it long ago.
Did you like it back in the day, or is it one of those that you kind of grew to like?
No, I liked it just fine back in the day. I didn't... It took time away from it and seeing it in perspective of like all the movies that came out around it, and then the type of movies we're seeing now that are popular. It seems like things like this in Session 9, they were just like 5 or 6 years too early, maybe.
Totally, right?
Where like if they'd come out at that time, maybe like 2006, 2007, they would have really maybe hit and made more money.
Yeah.
Where
totally
like
agree.
now watching them, you look back and you can see like issues where like a more modern indie horror movie would probably have tighter story or something, but they didn't have anything to compare to. They weren't working on that. They were working from like, okay, we want to get away from all the sequels and meta horror and just make this actual horror story that feels real.
Yeah. I agree. I think you're right. I think if it would have come out just a little bit later, I think there would be a much wider acclaim for this flick. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time that I saw this movie, and I'd heard lots of good things about it. I was super amped to watch it for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other night, we were hanging out with our friends Lindsay and Thomas.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what movie are you guys doing for the podcast this week? And I was like, Ravenous. I'm really stoked to see it. And they were both like, oh, we never heard of it. Let's pull up a trailer and watch a trailer. I'd never seen the trailer for this movie. I knew nothing about this flick.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason in my head, I think I was thinking of it like it was like Frailty or something.
Oh, okay.
Which is a cool flick,
That's
too.
a good one. Yeah, that's another one that fits in with those, like Session 9 and this, where it was just like, that's way different.
Yeah, totally. So I had no idea what this movie was about, so we pull up a trailer for it, and dude, this movie has one of the goddamn worst trailers I have ever seen in my fucking life. We watched it, and I was like, I am not excited to see this movie. This looks horrible.
And you basically texted me as much, and I was worried. I was like, man, Ben's not going to like this movie.
I
like,
texted you, and I'm like, dude, I'm not stoked to watch this.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine why, so I booted up the preview myself. Boy, fuck that preview.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That's real bad.
If you guys are listening to the show and you've not seen the trailer for this, please just go to YouTube and type in Ravenous 1999 trailer to know what we're talking about. They could not have missed the mark.
If you haven't seen the movie, it's not that.
No, it absolutely did not prepare me for what this movie is. The trailer for this movie made it look like it was about a wackadoo troop of frontiersmen soldiers.
Yeah.
Like it was like fucking, MASH or, damn it, what's that other one about? Like a war troop in Germany and shit.
Oh, Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes or something, yeah. Where it was like, it's a bunch of wackadoo characters that are all trying to get along and live together.
Watching it, it seemed like it was a joke. Like it was an SNL trailer joke or something.
Yeah. I mean, like the music in the background sounds like fucking Right Said Fred. Like I'm Too Sexy or something.
What the fuck?
It's got this late 90s ass music behind it.
Yeah.
This corny voiceover.
Yeah, and it's that guy. It's the voiceover guy.
The late 90s voiceover guy.
We all know him. Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, I just could not wrap my head around this movie. I was like, how could anybody think this was any good?
In a world.
But then the funny thing is like, we all looked at each other and we were like, this is going to be good? You've heard that this is good. Are you serious? And Thomas was like, man, it really reminds me of the 13th Warrior trailer. Which is like that Antonio Banderas, like fucking Viking lore kind of movie. Which is like a really hard-ass flick and stuff, right?
Yeah.
He pulls up the trailer for that, and I swear to God, it's got to be made by the same guy. It has like damn like Pure Moods in the soundtrack. It sounds like Enya or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you showed it to me, and I didn't remember it. I remember reading the novel, 13th Warrior, and not wanting to see the movie, but I didn't remember why. And when you showed it to me again, I was like, oh, that's why. Because I remember this preview, and
trailer
it looked
like dog
terrible.
Shit. Yeah. I mean, dude, seriously, especially if you're like a horror fan and you'd heard about Ravenous and you watch that trailer, you'd be like,
yeah,
fuck no, I'm not watching this.
Yeah, it's because it's ridiculous. It's a terrible, terrible trailer.
Do not let the trailer tamper with your expectations on this. It is infinitely better than what the trailer shows you. Watch the trailer because you just won't believe it's for this fucking movie.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to pretend this movie doesn't have some wacky, weird shit in it.
It's got some wacky, weird shit, and it's very upfront about it.
Yeah, there's some dark humor to it, but it's not that trailer.
No, it's not that fucking wacky. Yeah, that's the thing is like as soon as we started the movie last night to sit down and watch it, and it opens up with that like Nietzsche quote about like be careful when fighting the enemy to not become the enemy or the monster or whatever.
He who fights monsters should be careful not to become one. Yeah,
and then it was like eat me, anonymous.
Yeah.
That kind of lets you know, like, right up front, like, okay, this is going to be a little on the weird side.
And that's too goofy. And
that came in a little hot. That came in a little too hot.
Let me talk a little bit about the production, since we're talking about the goofiness and the weirdness, because I think there's some stuff you need to know about the production to understand why this movie is what it is.
I heard it was really easygoing. Everything went exactly as planned.
Yep. Nobody got fired.
They kept the whole band together. Everything went well.
They did. If you were there day one, you were there day last.
That's right.
Yep. So, if you look up Ravenous, you'll see it was directed by Antonia Bird.
Okay.
It was originally being directed by Milcho Munchevsky.
Okay. Milcho Munchevsky.
Yeah.
Sounds like a delicious creamy cheese.
It really does. I'll have the Munchevsky.
right?
Yeah.
And a nice Pinot Gris.
So he worked on the movie for a while. He was doing the pre-production. Apparently, a week before they were going to go into production, he sent them a bunch of new storyboards, and it was going to add like 2 extra weeks to the shooting. So there was some conflict with Fox.
Yeah.
And Fox then agreed to let him have 1 extra week of shooting. But they complained that Manchevsky was refusing to have production meetings. So Manchevsky says that he refused to have production meetings because Fox 2000 executive Laura Ziskin, who was president of Fox 2000 at the time, was trying to micromanage the production.
Okay. Now, I mean, that doesn't sound like that's something that wouldn't happen in Hollywood.
Nope, it doesn't.
Sounds likely.
It absolutely sounds likely. And to know that following this, Laura Ziskin left Fox 2000 in November. She was coming to a point where she was no longer happy. So she may have been either micromanaging or she may have just been hard to work with or something. Though, I'm looking at her IMDb and looking at everything else that she worked on. I would hesitate to say it is her fault.
I blame the woman.
Right. But there were apparently, though, some other problems. Manchevsky eventually ended up getting fired when Laura Ziskin showed up on set with Raja Gosnell and said, "Here's your new director."
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So reading that makes me think, okay, maybe she kind of sucks.
Could be, yeah.
The cast revolted and refused to have Raja Gosnell be their director.
Really?
Yes. And don't worry about Raja Gosnell, director of Home Alone 3. He went on, Laura Ziskin, she gave him Never Been Kissed, so he had something to direct.
All right, he had something to play with.
If you look at his IMDb, seriously.
Is he one of those guys that you're like, you have dirt on somebody because people just keep feeding you projects and you are talentless?
He directed that Martin Lawrence one where he dresses up like a grandma.
Oh, yeah.
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 This honky grandma be tripping?
I think that was the one.
Tracy Jordan version.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yes, it is that.
Yeah. He also directed Beverly Hills Chihuahua. So
a winner is him.
Yeah, and the cast just didn't see him directing this movie.
Hey, man, I will tell you what, though.
Yeah.
Kate's grandmother, Oma, World War II survivor, lived on a Nazi work camp, really hardened individual, raised a bunch of kids over here by herself as a widower.
Uh-huh.
Loved her some Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Seriously?
Loved it.
Oh, no.
Loved it.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, this guy's got some...
This is delightful.
I mean, seriously, that was it. That was basically... Have I told you this story already? Because is what she said. So, I mean, this guy gets some cool points from me. He made Oma happy.
Yeah. So, Robert Carlyle, who plays Ives...
Yeah.
He recommended Antonia Bird, who he had worked with on 2 other movies, and they were like business partners and stuff. And there was like a 10-day negotiation. This is 3 weeks into filming.
That's what I was about to ask, is like, how much of the fucking movie had they filmed at this point?
Well, okay. So, I mean, a movie like Saw, 28 days to film, no big stunts or anything. Yeah. This is full of stunts. There are war shots.
There's
this
sets,
probably took 2.5 to 3 months to shoot without all the problems.
Big outdoor locations, tons of sets.
And her name is on the director, meaning that even though he shot for 3 weeks, she shot the majority of the film.
Okay.
So she comes in 3 weeks in, 10 days of like negotiation. Finally, she comes in. What I will say about the whole like issue with Laura Ziskin is that Antonia Bird also complained about issues with the production and the management and shooting schedules and stuff. So, maybe Fox was just sucking.
Yeah.
I mean, they were shooting in the Carpathian Mountains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that's where this was shot?
Yeah, this was shot.
I wondered where it was.
Yeah, this was shot in Europe in an area where there probably wasn't much to do when they weren't shooting.
Word.
So I can see why there might be some like tensions on set and all that stuff. No idea what all happened there. But there was like some major trouble with this production.
Damn. Usually that's like the hallmark of a movie that fucking sucks.
That's going to fall apart and suck terribly.
I don't understand how this many people were able to keep this vision intact.
Well, and Antonia Bird does not like the final cut of the film.
Really?
She hates the narration and other elements to it. And I would think that what they probably are is the addition of Eat Me at the beginning, the weirdness of the title when it comes up.
Okay, dude.
It's really out of place.
The opening credits in this, again, are just 90s as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like from like an Adam Sandler movie or something.
Yeah, but it's like you're watching at that point, that dinner scene, and like the way he's like hearing everyone eat and stuff, it reminded me of a Giallo film.
Yeah,
so you're watching like a
Me
Giallo
too.
film and then 90s as fuck credits.
Like when I talk about how they're 90s as fuck, I mean they're in kind of a goofy font, and when they fly on screen, they have a sound effect.
Yep.
Like when Guy Pearce's name comes on screen, it's
sound
like
effect. Uh-huh. Yep.
Like they all have like
Every
a little
one of
wind
them.
movement noise.
Yeah. And this is all while very serious stuff is happening in the background.
Yeah.
Like he's dealing with PTSD from war.
Yeah.
And dealing with the fact that he's being called a hero even though he was a coward. Like, and this just wackiness is going on.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, in a sense, like the way that the movie opens so weird, it did tell me right away, kind of like with that intro of Cabin in the Woods, where I'm like, oh, okay, this is not the movie that I thought I was going to be watching. It did inform me a little bit, but maybe, too heavy-handed. Too heavy-handed in the intro.
This is the thing is, I'm not going to complain about it. I get why Antonia Bird complains about it because it's not her vision. She had a darker vision probably.
Okay, yeah.
Than all this wackiness. But because that wackiness gets added in, it makes this movie that much weirder.
I think so,
it
too.
It really like just turns it up to 11. And I think that the production issues made this movie what it is.
Yeah, it could
be.
be.
Because there were too many cooks and because there was micromanaging and the director's vision and the studio's vision were so different, like it makes this weird mishmash that somehow works.
And it lets me know, too, that I think all the actors and everybody that were on set knew what kind of movie was being made here.
Right.
Because everybody plays their parts so well and delivers the serious stuff very convincingly and plays the humorous stuff with levity that isn't completely over the top.
No.
Like, I feel like the actors knew how to do this movie probably better than the people that were micromanaging and changing people out on the set and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think that's absolutely it. And I think they had a very clear vision, and I think that's why Robert Carlyle called his friend Antonia Bird to come in, because he was like, look, I can get you up to date on what we've been doing because we've been doing it. We've been making these choices.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is come in and just help us finish the vision.
Well, it sounds like the actors had a lot of reign in this, too.
Yeah, I mean, they rejected the second director.
Yeah. Well, and then I even read, too, that like the apparently the ending of this movie, that whole like big brawl scene.
Right, yeah, that was coordinated by Guy Pearce and
Robert Carlyle. Like they choreographed that whole thing. It was supposed to be a completely different thing where they're fighting on the roofs as the camp is burning and shit. And they were like, let's just beat the shit out of each other and choreograph their own shit. Just like damn They Live.
And they ran out of fake blood on the set.
I mean, good
They made
Lord.
it so bloody.
Holy cow, man. Yeah, so it seems like the actors, I think, might have been running the show with
I think
this
that's
one.
why they wanted Antonia Bird to come in. I think Robert Carlyle and she had worked together enough that he knew, like, she will do this. She would be interested in us doing it this way. And so they bring her in and she fucking nails it.
I can't imagine a much better cast than this.
No.
You know?
I can't either. Like, the names in this, it's not even like watching this, you can say like, oh, well, that's Guy Pearce before he was Guy Pearce, or that's Robert Carlyle before he got bigger. Nope. This is Guy Pearce 2 years after LA Confidential, a year before Memento. Like, he's already a star.
Yeah.
Robert Carlyle, this same year, was a Bond villain. in
pretty big name.
Yeah,
Pretty big name.
The world's not enough.
It's funny because that's one of those guys, like, when you just say Robert Carlyle, like, I can't think of anything else he's been in.
Yeah.
And then you look at his IMDb, and there's tons of
There's
shit
tons
you've
of
seen him
stuff,
in.
and you've seen him, yeah.
And with good reason. He is extremely charismatic, super good looking.
He's
fucking
great,
awesome.
And I think they nailed the Alfred Packer look. That's what they were going for.
Who's that?
Alfred Packer is, Cannibal the Musical.
Yeah.
That's about the Alfred Packer case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he
Yeah.
had like a bold mustache and goatee.
and the
kind of
goatee, yeah, and
combination.
he just has that look about him, yeah.
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense now. All right.
It does. This also has former WCW World Champion David Arquette.
That's right. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is also, is this post Scream or?
Yeah,
pre-Scream?
this is after Scream
It
2.
was like 97 or something like that, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, so he was already a very well-known name
Yeah.
that signed on to do this flick. That's cool.
Child porn lover Jeffrey Jones.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's one of those things.
He's in so
that-
many movies.
He's in
that I
so
love.
many movies.
Yeah.
And the thing that the thing that blows is he's fucking into child pornography
Yeah.
and helped fuel that industry. That's really what blows.
That is the worst part.
But I was going to say what blows is he ruins a lot of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Think of the trauma that happens to me every time I
Poor
see him in a
me.
movie. Yeah, no. The worst thing is that he helped fuel the child pornography
Yeah.
industry. Fuck you. But, damn it, why's he got to be so good? He's so good.
He really is. He is really good.
Yeah. Like he has, again, that way of like delivering funny stuff in such a believable way.
Yeah.
Like they're sitting down at that dinner scene towards the end and he's like, well, isn't this civilized?
Yeah.
It's so good.
He is probably the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's the best, the most, like he's funny from that opening speech with Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
Like
and even like when they're talking about like sneaking off to get that guy's, Knox's like bourbon after he passes out and stuff. He does deliver a lot of the humor in just such a dry, matter-of-fact way that you almost forget that he helped fuel the child pornography industry.
But
you don't forget.
Terrible. You don't forget
You
that.
shouldn't.
Jeremy Davies, who plays Private Toffler. He had just been the interpreter in Saving Private Ryan.
See,
He was in Twister.
I wasn't able to place him. He's in Twister, though.
Uh-huh.
Which one is he in Twister? Shit.
I
I think you just gave me an excuse to watch Twister again.
Yeah, watch Twister again. He's that one. That one.
That guy.
The one. He also, a few years after this, would play Charles Manson. There are two people in this who I think could play Charles Manson. He's one of them. The other one is Robert Carlyle. Yeah.
Absolutely so.
And that's again an intentional choice. That look, the Manson look, the Alfred Packer look. It's not just the frizzy hair and the facial hair.
Yeah.
There's something in their eyes.
Yeah,
where
they have
it's
that
just like,
wildness.
what is that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We also have Neil McDonough in here. Old Dum Dum Duggan.
That's right. Now, what do I know him from?
You know him from being Dum Dum Duggan in Captain America, probably. Nah,
don't
you probably
know that
know
I
him from
do.
a million things. He's in
Okay.
so much stuff.
Which one is he in this?
He's the blonde, super
Okay.
soldier guy.
Yeah. The guy that's like super pissed and fucking gets in the river with no shirt on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rawr,
Apparently,
he
there's
says.
like a lot of deleted scenes in the movie that didn't make it in. That kind of told you more about his relationship with, I guess, Boyd, because him and Boyd seem to have a real contentious kind of relationship. I guess because Boyd, Guy Pearce's character, is ultimately kind of a coward, and this guy's like a mega soldier.
Yeah.
So I think that there was like some dispute between the morality and stuff there.
That makes sense. I could see why you would cut those as well, because it's like, well, it's not that terribly important, though that would have made the scene with them in the hole make more sense, where it's just like, it kind of seems like, well, he's just randomly chosen to be the last person with him.
Yeah.
But if we had more of that backstory, it's like, oh, okay, he's put into this position where, again, the coward wins.
Yep.
Being cowardly is somehow
helping him
going
survive.
to help you survive. It's almost like you could be the biggest coward in the world and become president of the United States.
It's almost like you could.
Through your cowardice.
Almost.
Yeah, almost like that.
Is there any coincidence that the guy who's like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Aryan-looking guy is called Reich?
No, yeah, they were obviously going for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure.
Yeah, they were definitely like, because, I mean, I can see that with Reich. I can see it with Cleaves as he's the cook, as in like Cleaver.
Okay, yeah.
I saw that with a few of the names, but I don't think they tried to do it with all the names.
I'm glad they didn't. That would have been very tiresome.
Very tiresome. Yeah. But I mean, like Major Knox, he's always knocked out.
Okay. All right, I gotcha.
Drunk. Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah. It's not a stretch.
Yeah. There's one actor in this that I want to talk about, man. He plays Mr. Janus. Now, you won't remember Mr. Janus.
I don't remember who
Nor
that is.
do I. I think he's just in one of the flashes. Mr. Janus is played by a producer on this film, David Heyman.
Oh, okay. He just wanted to be in a movie.
Well, David Heyman, this is the first movie made by his Heyday Productions Films. A little before he made this, he had been shopping around for a children's book that he would like to turn into a movie. And he bought the rights to this little children's book called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
No fucking way.
Yeah. David Heyman is the reason. I mean, somebody would have been the reason. Not that David Heyman...
But he's the one we got.
He's the man we got. David Heyman's second movie he produced is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Holy shit.
So it went from Ravenous to that to fucking Harry Potter to like Gravity. Like you look at his production companies.
Holy moly.
IMDb, it just fucking blasted
skyrocket.
off.
Well,
Yeah.
it's all funded off of nuts and sickles, isn't it?
Yep.
Galleons.
Yep.
Or up to their eyeballs in galleons over
They got
there.
all the galleons they could ever want.
How crazy is that,
Yeah,
dude?
it's just crazy that this was the first thing he produced, and he was in the process of selling Harry Potter to Warner Brothers with
Wow.
JK. Yeah.
Wow, with old Just Kidding Rowling.
Old Just Kidding Rowling. Yeah.
I saw a great Hard Times article the other day. Or it might have been The Onion. I think it might have been The Onion, yeah. They ran an article that like J.K. Rowling reveals that you, the reader, were gay all along.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I
sounds
could
about
see
right.
it in the text. It was there the whole time.
It was there the
yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So that you were seeing a guy who was fixing to be a bajillionaire.
Yeah, he's
hanging
just
out in
like,
this movie
yeah,
doing
just some
whatever.
guy who's like, you know, like, I got a little bit of money. Maybe I can make something of it. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made a lot of something out of it.
Yes.
Not exactly a strong female presence in this movie.
No, we have one.
Yeah, the guy Martha.
Two, I guess, because there's the one lady who's mentioned and shown in the flashes as being with Ives's crew that gets eaten.
Okay,
She's like the
yeah.
last person he eats. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. She gets et. I don't
Yeah.
think she even has any speaking lines or
No,
anything.
she doesn't say anything.
Martha is just kind of the Native American guide who is kind of clearly over all these white boy shit.
Yeah, she is. She just, it's just clearly like, ugh.
There's that
fucking
part where
shit.
like Knox like goes to it. He's like, "We're gonna send Boyd to camp. We need somebody to go and get Colonel whatever from
Mhm.
the other base." And he's like, "Any volunteers?" And she like looks around. It's just fucking her.
like,
And she's like, "Me, I fucking guess
Yeah.
again." At the end of the movie too, she just pieces out. She's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
"I'm tired of
outta
all this fucking white
I'm outta here.
foolishness.
Yeah.
I am out of here."
uh-huh.
But you know, it's one of those movies that it's easy to bitch about there not being much of a female presence in it, but
That is how
it's
it
accurate to the time period.
would probably be, especially in. I mean, this is a fort that doesn't exist in reality, but it would have been a very far north passage through California, and most
Yeah.
people would not be taking.
No, I mean, this was 1840s, 1850s.
Mhm.
You know, it would be a long time before women were serving in the military,
Right.
much less on this little encampment with like 5 dudes. you
Yeah,
know?
and they go into town for women.
Yeah.
I mean, they even mention it. So,
Right.
like, yeah, there are not going to be women in this fort. But there's another reason why it's mostly male, and that's because a lot of this is about homosocial bonds.
Okay, now that's something that I was kind of thinking about
Yeah.
too, actually.
And I think if you go back and listen to our interview with the vampire episode, you'll hear a good bit of what you'll hear about these two guys.
Yeah.
Because this is Lestat and this is Louis.
Well, okay, so that leads me right into the next thing I was gonna bring up as a point about all this and the kind of homoeroticism in this movie.
Yeah.
Is this a vampire movie?
No, it's a Wendigo movie. And we'll
Is it
talk
a
about
vampire Wendigo movie?
we'll talk about specifically what the difference between a Wendigo and a vampire is in a little bit.
but you're right. This has so many parallels between Lestat and fucking what's his name?
Louis. Yeah.
Louis.
Yeah.
in that you have this one guy that's just embraced the lifestyle
he loves it.
that saved his life, and he is who he is, and he's just an absolute hedonist. And then you have the guy who's like more reluctant to get into it and kind of like rejects that side of himself and wants to put it away and hide it.
Yeah.
And then you have them, seemingly healing themselves and maybe even gaining some supernatural abilities from feeding on the blood of humans.
They've expedited healing.
Sure.
It's quicker, and they definitely are stronger.
They can heal mortal wounds. I mean, Jeffrey Jones gets not just stabbed, stripped up and hit with a hatchet and stuff. And he's fine. Ives gets shot in the shoulder. I mean, back then that would have certainly been a mortal wound, and they're able to heal it.
Especially out in the middle of nowhere like that.
Yeah.
With no doctor.
So you have some of these elements too where, during that like chase scene at the front of the movie where they're chasing Ives through the forest, Ives seems to just appear and disappear as if from nowhere, and they can't catch him and they can't find him, which sounds like he might be a vampire. And it just seems like he's really close to...
If you can't be caught nor found, you might be a vampire.
You might be a vampire. If you get real close to kissing another feller on the mouth, you might be a vampire.
In the midst of conversation.
Yeah, because it seems like there's definitely
I do that a lot with my guy pals, though. Just like, hey, this is a good... hey, how you doing?
Get in here.
Let's get real close.
Hey, dude. Hey, bro.
Hey, get in me.
But it's like there's a lot of parts in this flick where there definitely does seem to be like some sort of attraction between those two that is very akin to things we see in a lot of vampire movies.
Yep. Let's talk about Wendigos then.
Okay.
Just so we can clarify how a Wendigo is different than a vampire.
Okay, that's that thing that lives on down that road.
No, don't go down that road.
Wendigos down that road.
They talk about it in there, but it like... I don't.
It's just like, the Native Americans believe in this tree spirit thing.
Yeah,
it's not really
cemetery is not. Yeah, it's not going into it very in depth because this movie is I think a good deep exploration of what a Wendigo is without doing it in exposition.
Okay, because I was gonna say like there's not really tons about it. Like there's the part where Martha is, she shows him like kind of the leather tapestry, and she's like Wendigo.
Well, no, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Billy
remember what
somebody
his character's name is. Yeah.
But he's like Wendigo, and then later Martha is like Wendigo only takes, it never gives back.
Right.
It consumes and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But it doesn't really like. Long ago in the forest, there was a legend of... Like, it doesn't really give you much. So
no.
And I didn't do any research about it.
That is the exact terrible way to do it. That would be the way to do it, would be like an intro with like too much about it, and then cut to Guy Pearce pretending to be dead.
Right.
What's going on here?
Right.
Anyway.
Okay, so the Wendigo itself, I don't know nothing about this. I want to know.
So there are two different... versions of the Wendigo, basically. There's the malevolent cannibalistic spirit,
then the reissue
that can possess humans.
Okay.
Or there's a monster that humans can physically turn into.
Okay, so it's either a spirit or an actual physical monster.
You're at risk of being possessed by or turning into the Wendigo if you break taboos, specifically the taboo of cannibalism.
Okay. Right.
That means that you're turned into a Wendigo in this universe simply by ingesting human flesh, even accidentally. Because that's what happens to Guy Pearce, to Boyd.
He's buried underneath the body.
The blood just pours into his mouth.
Which is grisly, by the way.
Which is grisly.
Fucking grisly.
But it gives him strength and helps him to...
Vitality.
Yeah.
There's also that one feller at the end of the movie that just inadvertently eats some of that stew. What became of him?
I assume he's a Wendigo now, too.
He might be a Wendigo.
You might. If you consumed a stew and now have an irrepressible hunger, you might be a Wendigo.
Very well could be.
So, here's the thing, though. They do say that it comes from the north. The legend comes from the north.
Canada.
But it's coming from the eastern north. The Nova Scotia, Great Lakes, Canada area.
Oh, really?
Is where the Wendigo legend comes from. Now, there are similarities to the Wechuge which comes from the Pacific Northwest and Alaska area, which I think whoever, the person who wrote this, whatever his name is, I can't remember, they did this research and found these things and really put this into there, because this is the difference between the Wachuge and the Wendigo.
Okay.
So the Wendigo is driven by consumption and hunger, but it's a monster, a beast. The Wachuge is driven by this desire to eat, consume, but the Wachuge is considered to have a particular wisdom that comes from the animal spirits that it is enacting. So it's a wisdom, which is how Ives presents
knowledge.
it. It's how Ives presents it to Boyd. As like, no, this isn't a curse. This is like this blessing that we have.
Yeah.
So whoever did the research the fucking research, but then didn't include it in the exposition, because you shouldn't.
Which is interesting that you point that kind of thing out, because isn't that so common in so many other ancient myths? I mean, what you just described is also the tree of knowledge and the fruit of the apple.
Yeah.
It gave them knowledge,
right?
Which was a blessing and a curse and stuff.
Right, blessing and curse at the same time. Right.
Yeah. So this is very similar. And again, it was a taboo.
Yeah.
To eat from that tree and stuff.
Now let me read a description from Basil Johnston, who is...
Is this from Tobin's Spirit Guide?
I don't think so. Let me just check. This is from Basil Johnston, who is a...
Basil.
Maybe it's Basil. He's an American, but... Maybe he says it Basil.
He'd be wrong.
He's an Ojibwe Chippewa scholar. Chippewa and Ojibwe are the same tribe. It just in the Canadian side, they say Ojibwe.
Can we replace tomato with that? Because that's way cooler.
Ojibwe Chippewa. It's an Ojibwe Chippewa. What? So this is how he describes the Wendigo. And listen to this, because I think this description fit. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. With what lips it had were tattered and bloody. Now, there are two people in this movie who fit that description. Boyd and Ives.
Yeah, really.
They both they went for actors with the sunken look, the strong like cheekbones, so they look like a skull popping out.
Totally.
Like they did the fucking research on Wendigos and then didn't throw it in just like this will be great. People will learn what a Wendigo is.
That's amazingly smart and subtle.
Very subtle, and I like the subtlety of it.
Well,
because if I hadn't researched this, I wouldn't know that like they obviously did their research.
Well, that's the thing, is like that's what's cool about the way they presented this stuff, is if you don't know anything about it, you can still watch the movie just fine. I didn't know anything about Wendigo myths other than what was in Pet Sematary.
Exactly.
But then it's like when you add that extra layer onto it, if you know about that stuff, you can watch the movie and be like, oh, cool, I can tell
they put a lot of work into this,
But it's not reliant on, well, the audience has to know about Wendigos before they see this movie. So that's pretty cool.
You mentioning earlier about the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil is like a blessing and a curse is interesting too, because Wendigos are portrayed as both gluttonous and extremely thin due to starvation. Like, that's how they show them in this movie, is that Boyd and Ives are always hungry, always thin looking.
They're always hungry, but they're never satisfied.
Right. Like, because Ives consumes, what, like 5 people?
Yeah, he's 5 people in 3 months. That's a lot of pounds of food, y'all.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, they're portrayed as both gluttonous and thin. So, they're this embodiment of greed and excess that can't be satisfied.
Right, yeah.
So it's never going to be satisfied. It's always going to be consuming, never giving, always taking.
Always taking, yeah.
And that's how the Wendigo's different than the vampire, in that the vampire is known for giving vampirism as its, gift curse duality to other people. So at least it's spreading something. Whereas the Wendigo is only consuming.
Only eating,
It eats and eats and eats. And in some legends, it gets bigger every time it eats. So that's like part of why it can never get full.
Oh, I see.
Because
Okay.
consuming another person make it get larger, so it's hungry again.
Needs more food.
Just this constant like, and it is
Wow.
it really is just like mythological parables teaching people about one, cannibalism. Don't do it. Like the idea, because like
Don't be eating people.
these are coming from northeast Canadian tribes and northwest Canadian tribes. So these are people who are dealing with starvation months. They're dealing with months
totally.
where if they don't have food, there's nowhere to get it.
The temptation might be great to eat one of
Yeah.
your friends.
So they need the myths and the parables saying like, okay,
Keep their morals
don't do
strong.
this or you'll turn into this monster.
Yeah, wow.
We still have this.
Yeah.
Sort of. Anytime you hear anybody in the United States of America, probably in any English-speaking country, you mention cannibalism, and most people in their mind will think you eat human flesh once, you crave it the rest of your life.
Right.
That's not true. There's nothing you can eat and crave the rest of your life.
I don't know, man. You ever had a Cool Ranch Dorito?
Like, what part of the human flesh? Like, what if you just eat a butthole?
Then that
Do
forever?
you want buttholes the rest of your life?
I mean, judging by the youth of today on social media, it seems like they are all
Well,
about
we're
eating
not
ass.
eating those buttholes. We're licking them. I'm just saying, like, we keep up this mythology about cannibalism.
Yeah, that turns you into like a wild man, a savage.
It makes you incapable of avoiding cannibalism ever again.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
you want is
the
that.
meat is sweet. I
Yeah.
mean, they do say that apparently human tastes a lot like pork and bacon. And
Right, it's long pig, yeah.
pretty good.
I mean,
Pork
yeah.
is good.
Okay.
Bacon is good.
No.
John Travolta.
Oh,
Pulp
no.
Fiction.
That was a weird delivery.
Yeah.
I always thought that.
I know, it's so bad.
But I mean, that's the thing. So, for instance, like I stopped eating pork a long time ago.
You think you could quit human cold turkey?
Easily. It's not even a problem. Like, I don't see. I mean, I do see, though. It's a part of our mythology. There's so much stuff we believe to be true. All of us believe it without ever voicing it. But if somebody says it out loud, it's like, yeah. That's a thing. We all know that.
Right.
But it's not true.
Well, and you can see even Boyd wrestles with some of this stuff later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Like after he's been down in that hole with Reich, after Reich has died. After, by the way, they basically do that entire forest fall from Hot Rod.
Yes, well, yeah, Hot Rod had to be
It was absolutely that.
taken some from this because it's so long.
It's so long, and it's just him tumbling down this hill, this beautiful, majestic mountainside. It's totally Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, after he kind of like rolls down there and like Reich is dead, and he's down there, I guess, for days with this corpse.
Yeah.
And he reaches that point where he's kind of thinking about eating on him, and he has to remind himself, he's like, you are dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
Like he's convincing himself and kind of like trying to change his morality about it, where it's just like, you're just dead. Like, I didn't kill you to eat you.
Yeah, you're just meat.
matter now. You're
Yeah.
just meat. Yeah. So it's like, it's almost like he's trying to rationalize the morality of like, it's not as if I'm doing anything bad to you. You're dead now.
I
You
mean,
know?
I think the most recent experience, like worldwide, of like understandable cannibalism, maybe the events of Alive. You know, the soccer team that crashed in the Andes.
Yeah, I
like-
was gonna say a soccer team. Yeah.
And
woof.
what you like, you can read the sensationalized narratives about, say, Alfred Packer or the Donner Party, and of course they were trying to sell newspapers and things, and it would be like, babies eat an entire human being or whatever. Just like they would go all out. But what you know, and if you watch the movie Alive and read their stories about it, what you know is generally when people are driven to have to eat human meat, they do it as little as they have to.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to overcome the taboo and the revulsion to it.
It's pretty
So
well
again, that's
imprinted on
why,
you. Yeah, to
like-
not eat your own kind.
Yeah, but then we, like, because of our mythology that we've built up, where it's like we have to tell everybody not to do this because they'll go wild with passion about it. But what that then makes us do is see those type of people who are forced into this situation and see them as forever tainted by it.
Yeah. He ate somebody.
Yeah, like that person, like the people involved in that crash for the rest of their lives, every single day thought, I ate human meat. But they didn't. You know they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you don't think about every bad thing you've ever done every single day.
That's because I've always been a good boy.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
The real scary taboo about cannibalism is admitting that it's usually not a big deal.
Okay, I'm just saying maybe we trademark Dead and Lovely. We get ourselves some merch and bumper stickers and stuff. Cannibalism saves lives.
Saves lives.
Maybe it does.
Usually does.
You know?
I mean,
it's not often done just for the shit of it.
Yeah, we hear about people like Dahmer and all these others.
Yeah. They did it for the shit of it, I guess.
They did it for the shit of it. They want to eat a human being. Yeah. Yeah. But the majority of the people that are forced into that situation are not happy about it.
Well,
they don't want to do it and only do it as little as they have to. And when they're done with it,
in the name of survival,
they shouldn't feel guilty
or be stigmatized for it and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, and ultimately too, that brings me to another thing about this movie is I feel like this movie is all about the morality of survival.
Yeah.
And gray areas of what it means to survive.
It is.
Because basically you find out here at the first of the movie that the only reason why Boyd survived this war and captured those Mexican generals or whatever.
Being a coward. He pretended to be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He knew that he couldn't survive in this situation.
Yeah.
So he acted a coward and laid down and played dead.
Yep.
And he is, he feels shame for that the rest of the movie, and he is shamed and stuff like that because of it. And then you got this other guy who, Ives, took action to survive.
Right.
I mean, basically, Boyd chose inaction to survive.
Yes.
I will lay down and pretend to be dead while my brothers are around me.
Pure luck gave him what he had.
Yeah, inaction of pretending to be dead while his brothers are around him getting shot and torn to shreds. Meanwhile, like I said, Ives did something way more courageous.
Yes.
And crossed that taboo and ate some people to survive. And it's interesting as a viewer to be like, how do they want me to feel about these two guys?
Right.
And their methods of survival. Like, who's the good guy here? The guy that totally pansied out and let his friends get killed so he would survive? Or this guy that, like I said, did the courageous thing in a way. I mean, I don't say courageous and like, what a hero. He ate somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it took a lot of boldness and a lot of action on his part to make that decision.
I think
survive.
that's why they show two sides of Ives, and he has two names. He has a false identity because
Calhoun.
There are two ways to look at him. Like, he could be this over-the-top Wile E. Coyote type of just like pursuing the Roadrunner constantly.
Totally.
Never after anything. His brain can't think of anything but that.
Or do you even remember like that guy in Zorro, in The Mask of Zorro, that keeps like Zorro's brother's head in a jar and drinks the water from it and stuff?
Right.
And it's this over-the-top sadistic kind of villain character. It's like he could have been that.
He's presented as that and presented as this pathetic individual who needs help and has been in a really bad situation. Mm-hmm. And both of them are kind of true because they're definitely true because he first starts eating people to survive, and then because of this Wendigo curse, he becomes that over-the-top villain who can only think of that thing.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like this movie kind of gets away with, like you said, that long-going fable of like, well, if you eat human flesh, you become a madman who's all consumed by it. It's like this movie kind of sidesteps that by being like, no, it's a Wendigo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not their fault. They're being possessed by this or turning into this.
And aren't you stoked that like the whole movie, even though it is this Wendigo spirit that's getting these people, it's never shown as like, oh, their eyes turn green,
right?
Or like they get a snake tongue. Nothing.
Basically, it's just that they heal quickly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no supernatural crazy stuff, which also means no shitty 90s CGI or anything in here that pulls you out of the human, believable element of this movie. Did you notice how much fire was in the movie? How often people had, like, fire being reflected and stuff like that? Like, all the time through the movie, like, I think in a lot of Boyd's flashbacks, there's fire.
Yeah.
Even earlier on in the movie, whenever Jeffrey Jones before he becomes a cannibal. I think it's after Ives / Calhoun shows up.
Yeah.
They're warming up by the fire and they're talking and stuff, and he's got like the fire in his eyes too, like reflected in his glasses.
Right.
Which again, I don't know if that is supposed to reflect either the fact that he will one day consume flesh and be consumed by this fire, or if maybe it's the passion of maybe all the gay stuff that's going through this movie. Maybe he sees this hunky stranger and wants a piece.
Maybe so. I mean,
it's hard to say.
Now I'm forgetting this. What was it that changed him? Did he accidentally consume blood or something, or was he changed by Ives intentionally?
Okay, so after Ives like gored him and stuff, he said that he passed out, and when he woke up, he's being fed by Ives.
Okay, so I'm wrong then about the difference between a Wendigo and a vampire in this case, because they used the Wendigo mythology to then use the vampire logic of turning.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, in general, the Wendigo mythology. That is the difference. The Wendigo is not trying to convert others to Wendigism.
Wendigism. I like that. But, later on in the movie, Ives says, like, being a cannibal is lonely business. And he's like, it's a hard life for us, or something like that. Where it's like he is trying to create a bit of a family, a bit of a unit for himself.
And just like Lestat, he's doing the same thing Lestat's
doing. Same fucking thing, man. It's the same thing. So I didn't know if like the fire in this was supposed to symbolize, like I said, the desire to eat human flesh, or is it fuck a man.
Just maybe it's desire in general. I think like there are the characters who have desire, which I would say like David Arquette's character, who just only wants to consume weed constantly.
Yeah,
like he's burning with that desire. Ives is burning with desire to eat people. Reich is burning with desire to kill people in war.
He feasts for combat.
Yeah, they're all burning with these certain desires, except for Boyd. He has literally zero desire to live, to exist, whatever. But like he also has the drive to live. It's almost like
survival is all he has.
It's all he has, and it's also like because he accidentally consumes blood and it gives him the power to do what he does.
Again,
but then he feels
all
like
passive. It's all passive on his part.
Like he feels terrible about it, even though it's exactly what needed to be done to survive. Like, because he doesn't have any passion for life. He doesn't have any like real passions, except when he's talking to Ives. Those are the times he shows passion,
dude. And I'm telling you, man,
and they end up dying on top of each other.
That's the thing, right? Like, ultimately in this movie, you have the bold, assertive Ives. You have the passive, meek Boyd.
Yeah.
It's a very top and bottom situation.
It is a very top and bottom situation.
And like you said, in the end of the movie, they end up snapped in that bear trap, lying on top of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm looking too much into this. Mixing fluids. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're not reading too much.
Actually, I think I do know.
Yeah, you're not reading too much. I think
there.
Everybody involved in this would probably say, yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that when they were like, how are we going to end this fight? They were like, well, of course we'll end up on top of each other, bleeding all over each other with our faces an inch apart.
Snapped in a trap together.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a little sexy.
Saying snapped in a trap together, which is interesting, is like Ives basically is trapped into being a cannibal by what he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
Boyd is trapped into being a cannibal by what happens to him. And then Ives traps Boyd in this situation.
Yeah.
And then Boyd turns it all around with this final trap, but
it's a trap.
He's still stuck in the trap himself. Like, it's like Boyd never escapes the trap. And I would assume the trap in this case is supposed to be something about morality. Like, I feel like this is saying a lot about morality and like the morality of survival, the morality of cowardice and war. Like,
what is it that Ives says? He says, "Oh, morality, the last bastion of a coward," or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I love that fucking line.
It is a good line. It's a really good line. I disagree with its message, but it's a good fucking line.
But yeah, I think you're right. It's like there is something about the morality of survival here, and the fact is that for better or worse, as Boyd is lying here on top of Ives, and Ives has just died, snapped in that trap. Boyd could heal himself by eating it.
Yeah, but he refuses.
Does he refuse, or is he too much of a coward to do it?
He's too much of a coward, I would say.
You know? So, again, it kind of leaves you with that thing where it's like, is he the hero because he chose to not live?
No, he's not the hero in this. I don't think at all that he's the hero in this.
I don't think there are any heroes
there are
in
no
it
heroes.
at all.
Yeah, this is just showing that survival is hell. And
yeah, there's no easy way to do it.
You either want it or you don't. And if you don't want it, I think in the end it kind of questions the morality of Boyd killing Ives.
Right.
Because Boyd doesn't think that he should live, but Ives thinks he should live. Ives didn't do anything to have to become a Wendigo. Like, he was forced into a situation.
Yeah.
Just like Boyd. He was not making a choice. He was choosing merely to survive.
Yeah.
So, like, they're no better or worse than one another, but Boyd refuses to believe that.
Yeah. And it's interesting for you as the viewer to decide which one you think is in the right here. Again, it plays that gray area so well, man.
It seems like, it seems like to me that Ives is right. That it's like, it's almost like the next step in human evolution. Like, you owe it to humanity to spread it.
Right.
Like, if we can survive, then
why the fuck shouldn't you?
Why the fuck shouldn't you? But Boyd again, like, and that's why I think why, like, some of the morality questioning that comes in also is that the chaos of war means that cowardice and bravery can be the same thing. Where, like, bravery is the story that you can tell to people that they can digest and say, yes, a just and wonderful thing happened. So you can say Boyd killed these officers who were killing American soldiers. A just and wonderful thing happened. To say that he did it by faking his death and then eating blood and gaining this extra strength from being
he got a one-up from something he didn't even work for.
Yeah, to say all that is to, like, recognize the actual true chaos of war, and that is, I mean, he could have just gotten shot by a bullet or fake his own death. Faking his own death led to the positive thing. Getting shot by a bullet wouldn't have changed anything.
Right.
But again, Boyd wrestles with that the whole movie.
For sure, man.
I shouldn't be alive, basically. Yeah.
I love it. I really, really love the way that this movie plays with that gray area and doesn't give you a big bad and a brawny hero.
Yeah.
That super ass generic narrative that especially what we're used to seeing in, like, war movies and shit like that, you know?
It's even hard to say too, like, because it looks very clearly on the surface to have an easy big bad.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Not really.
He's really not. When you go through it, you look at the logic of the movie and you look at what all is said and happens. Ives is no more villainous than anyone else trying to survive in the wilderness.
Well, and that ultimately, you know, whether you're talking about this in terms of the morality of survival, or you're talking about this as a vampire movie or a Wendigo movie or a gay movie, it's all summed up so fucking well with that one line that Ives says to Boyd. He says, "It's not courage to resist me, it's courage to accept me."
Yeah.
I fucking love that line.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
like, it's like if you are having these urges to be a gay person, it's not courage to resist it.
No, it's a courage to accept what you are and move forward with it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, whether that means being a fucking cannibal, if that's what Ives was talking about, or being a survivor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's like there's so many different ways you could spin it, but I feel like that line right there just sums it up so well as far as the moral ambiguity of everything that's happening.
I would agree with that.
So fucking cool,
I think that's, it's perfect. And again, it's real crazy that this all came out of such
a clusterfuck.
A clusterfuck of a production.
I'm amazed.
Which I think is just further evidence of how much the actors sort of took control of this project and said, we want this to work no matter what.
Absolutely so.
Yeah.
I totally agree, man. One of the other things, in addition to the incredible cast and the again, awesome story and stuff of this, that soundtrack adds fucking much to this movie. And dude, you want to talk about so many curveballs of a soundtrack. You're talking about a movie that takes place in what, 1840 something, 1850 something?
1840. It's between 1844 and 1847. It was during the Mexican-American War.
Yeah.
I think it said 1846.
It should have all been like fucking battle marches and hymns and maybe early bluegrass mountain music and stuff like that. It is such a weird eclectic blend of, it does have some of that stuff. That chase scene has this weird like Dollywood banjo music going on during it, which makes it oddly light but still engaging.
Yeah.
But then, dude, like later on in the movie, there is so much crazy stuff. Actually, it's not even later in the movie, even towards like the first third of the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, even the opening music is like, that's
not what I would have picked.
Not what I would have picked for this, but I'm glad you did.
And I love those soundtrack choices. Like, I love that the person that put the soundtrack together for this was like, this isn't the normal kind of movie that takes place in this setting, so I'm not going to give it the normal soundtrack. There's that one theme that kind of runs through a lot of it. It's just like a 2-note thing that's like a major 7 interval. It sounds like it's just being played on a banjo. It's like almost an octave, but not quite.
Yeah.
And then overlaid on top of that is this like, dude, I swear I've heard this like soft synth sound in like PlayStation RPGs. Like some of it sounds like Final Fantasy music of like these synth, almost like flutes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's played over the top of it. Like I have in my notes multiple times. I'm like, Sleepy Town RPG music. There's so many things in here that sound like fucking video game music. Yeah. And I love it, dude. Towards the very end of the movie too, one of the best parts of the soundtrack is like, whenever Boyd and Ives are kind of having their cat and mouse at the camp and like, you know, Boyd's like knocking down the top of that shed on top of him and stuff, there is this like synth and it sounds like a hammer dulcimer or a harpsichord or something soundtrack.
Okay.
That's super chill and super serene, and it's just background padding. Like it's not rhythmic, there's not drums. It's just this super dramatic one chord thing. Which, funny enough, I recognized it whenever it got to that part in the movie because our friends over at the Say You Love Satan 80s horror podcast used that piece of music during one segment of their show.
Oh, yeah?
So it got to that part in the movie, and I was like, holy shit, I know this from fucking, Jesse and Steph's podcast.
Yeah.
And blew my mind because I was like, I know this fucking piece of music.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's such a rad choice. And again, if I was scoring this movie, never in a million years would I have made the choices that whoever did the soundtrack to this did.
Well, let's get to that.
Let's talk about it.
Because there are people right now shitting themselves like,
who did it?
So the soundtrack was composed by Michael Nyman, who has done a ton of soundtracks, specifically won Academy Award for the piano soundtrack, Jane Campion's The Piano, 1993.
Okay. All right. I never saw that.
He did this along with Damien Albarn of Blur and the Gorillaz.
No fucking shit.
Yeah. This came out a year after the Gorillaz had formed and 2 years before their first album came out.
This all makes sense now.
Yeah, it does.
Because now that I'm thinking of like those kind of vintage soft synth weird RPG sounds.
The Gorillaz.
The Gorillaz. That's totally stuff that I have heard on like Blur records and Gorillaz records and shit like that. Dude, this makes sense now.
Yeah. So
how cool.
You got a guy who's Academy Award winning composer and a guy who is in a completely different field. So again, it's like this mishmash.
How did this
How
work?
did it come together to be? But that's the thing, is it's uniquely itself. There's like, even when I say there are movies that have some similar elements, they're not like this.
No. I mean, like I said, the closest cousin I could think of would be like Bone Tomahawk. But
but
that has a
more
period appropriate
serious
soundtrack.
And
it has
like,
some humor, but it's more like probably the kind of humor you would have if you lived in the Old West and life
some
was real
gallows
fucking
humor.
hard. Yeah, exactly. Like, whereas this will go real fucking weird sometimes.
Yes.
You know?
Real strange. And philosophical.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where Bone Tomahawk is philosophical at its heart, but this movie will question philosophy in the very like lines that the actors are saying.
Yeah. Man, so did the soundtrack have as much of an effect on you? Were you like, this is the
it's
shit?
fucking amazing. Yeah. Like, I didn't even remember it, though. I remembered liking the movie, but, like, as soon as the music started when I started watching it, I was like, what the fuck? I don't remember this.
It's so weird.
And it is, it's just so different, and it stands out the entire movie, but never overtakes the movie.
Totally.
I think it does kind of what Tom York's soundtrack for the Suspiria remake did.
Okay, yeah.
Excluding when he actually
the vocals,
sings during the
There should
final
not be
part.
vocals in a soundtrack, y'all. Come on.
But I think like he was able to like blend it in while it was like weird and different. You never really paid attention to the soundtrack. Same with this, except it hits you immediately. I think. And like you keep going back to it. You keep going like, why? What? But it's not like bad. It's not bad or wrong.
Yeah, like why did they put this music in
It's just like, I would have never done that.
Well, isn't that also the same thing we said about numerous Goblin scores in Argento movies and
exactly.
stuff?
It's got that Giallo feel to it.
Yeah, definitely so. I would be surprised if the people that made this hadn't seen some of those flicks.
Yeah.
Because there are so many moments where, like you said, the soundtrack has nothing to do with what's going on.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't overpower the scene or distract you.
Yeah. I mean, what's his name? The first director, Milcho Muchevsky, he's Macedonian. So it's close enough to Italy that I'm sure he grew up watching Giallo flicks. So like, I would assume, even though he's not getting the director's nod, he established and set the tone for what would be the movie as it proceeded forward.
Yeah.
Do
you have any other movies that you'd say kind of compare to this other than like Bone Tomahawk?
No, I mean, again, We Are What We Are has like some elements to it that are similar, but mostly is a completely different movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stands alone to me. I mean, I watch Cannibal the Musical. Yeah, that's a similar.
Actually, you know what?
Like not only
let's build a snowman.
Yeah, like in its weird, wacky humor and like just. I mean, it's about
cannibalism.
Cannibalism in the mountains in the 1840s. Well, I guess Alfred Packer was 1870s, but around that
Close
time.
enough. Close enough. Things didn't change that fast back then.
They did not.
Now let me ask you: is this a horror movie? It's kind of hard to say for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it. I think because it's about a supernatural creature.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of the conclusion I came to as well.
Take that out, I think it fits more in what we were talking about dark thrillers with Session 9 and like 7 and Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
Yeah. Only this isn't like crime. This is like the hardship of frontier life.
Yeah. It's like a dark historical fiction.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to say that it's horror. I mean, there's not really like scares in it. You never see any kind of monster
but
or
it's
creature.
certainly scary.
Yeah. And it gets dark and twisted. Like it's more twisted than it is scary, I guess, overall.
Yeah.
And there is some gore in there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Whenever Guy Pearce falls in that hole and his leg bone's breaking out. Do you ever see a bone sticking out of flesh and not just curl into a ball?
Oh, no.
I do every time.
I do every single time.
It's like, that'll never be easy to look at.
Don't want it.
No.
Don't want it.
Keep your bones in your body, dummy.
That's where they belong.
Get them back in there. Yeah, so there's some of that stuff. You know, obviously we have like some butchered corpses and like there's some slaughtered horses and stuff in there later on too.
It's got its like you could write a metal song about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it's not over the top gory. I mean, you could get way gorier and have a guy fucking pulling a feller's intestines out and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure.
I will say it could have been gorier, but I don't think it would have made it better.
No.
You know, there's a lot of these movies where I'm like, man, I really need to see some juice that would have made the movie better.
You know what?
This is one of those ones I don't think so.
I actually know, just thinking about it, there's one other movie that we've done that I would kind of compare this to, and that's Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
A little bit. In the sense that it's soldiers being, you know, dealing with this
survival situation.
Yeah, in a survival situation. And completely separated.
And there's a little humor in that.
Yeah.
Again, it's way more straight-laced compared to this, man. I love that this movie just embraced the weirdness.
It did.
The weirdness in the soundtrack, the weirdness in the humor. There's even some like really weird editing and stuff towards the first of the movie that's it has that strangely Italian feel to it, like you mentioned, you know? I'd be interested to see who edited this movie and what else they have done, because it has a feel that I know that we've experienced in other flicks, but it's still just entirely its own, man. This is like one of my favorite movies that I have uncovered for myself. At least you already seen it.
Yeah.
But this is one of the favorite movies that I've encountered through doing this podcast. I think this movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's up there for me as like, I'm really glad that we just did session 9.
Yeah.
So that, like, because it's really starting to open up to me that there are these great forerunners to the indie horror of the mid 2000s to this awesome golden decade of tons of great indie horror movies, and some that are like instant classics.
Oh yeah,
like
the Witch and all these
Witch.
others.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of a single one.
The classics like the
unforgettable
that one.
Yeah. But looking at this, it makes me want to go back and find these movies in the
what else have I missed?
Late 90s to early 2000s that sort of bridge that gap, but probably fell through the cracks.
Totally, man.
I think Frailty probably fits in there for sure. That's one that
I need to watch that again. Yeah.
People who have seen know how different and strange it is, but at the time, I mean, it's just Matthew McConaughey and Bill Paxton in a movie that nobody really watched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we've gushed on and on about how much we love
so much
this.
about it. So what are you rating?
Well, I was going to ask you first of all,
Yeah, okay.
Do you have any complaints about the movie?
Well, no, because like all the things that one might complain about are the things that I think make the mishmash work.
It might not work for some people. Like some
yes,
people,
I can definitely see this failing for people.
Yeah. I think that this is one of those movies that I really say within the first 5 or 6 minutes, you'll probably have made up your mind if you like this movie or not.
You'll get what you're getting into. Especially like once the title hits with that weirdness, if you're still in,
you're good to go.
You're probably good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I see this not really hitting everybody and getting again that humor and the weird soundtrack and stuff.
Yeah.
I think honestly my biggest complaint about the movie, I think the ending does come to a boil really fast.
Yeah, it all because like, yeah, I think maybe. It does feel like because of the 10 days that they had to negotiate a contract with Antonia Bird, and they were already short on time, like it does feel like they had to rush some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like, too, apparently, like I said, there's a lot of deleted scenes and stuff in here, and there might have been some things that make some of this make more sense to me, but Jeffrey Jones' turn towards the end of the movie where suddenly he's just like, I don't know, kill me, I can't live like this. That's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Because like just a second ago, you were like hauling corpses around and eating people just fine, but now suddenly you're just like, I changed my mind. You should kill me.
We already saw that one general eat the stew, so it's like, unless everybody dies, we know this is not over.
Yeah. So Jeffrey Jones' turn, especially to me there at the very end of the movie, was just kind of like, okay, they had to get rid of that character somehow, so I guess there's that. That's about my only complaint, though, honestly. I think the movie breezes by. It's an hour 40.
Yeah.
So it's not super short,
but
it's also not too long. No.
The mid area where he's in the hole doesn't feel excessively long, though it is long. I think
just to show you passage of time.
Yeah, and it gives you the idea of like thinking of what it would be like to be in that hole.
Yeah.
For that long.
Well, and again, it's so cool, too, because during that scene, which could have very well been boring with him hiding in a hole with a corpse.
Yeah.
It's like, it's intercut with, okay, here's Boyd with this food supply right in front of him that he knows will heal him and give him what he needs, but it's too much of a coward to take advantage of it, hiding in a hole.
Uh-huh.
Then meanwhile, that's intercut with all that stuff of like Ives, and he's skipping stones on
just
the fucking
a good
river.
Old time.
Yeah, dude, like he's just rampaging, just living his best life.
Uh-huh.
He's living, laughing, and loving all over that thing, man. So yeah, I even like that kind of moment in there too, because it just shows you how different these characters' lives and their outlooks on what they must do to survive are.
Yeah,
fucking awesome, man. Okay, what's your rating on this sumbitch?
Boy. This is a great movie. It's one I've seen a few times now. I don't. It's not like as infinitely watchable as something like The Shining or Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me, and like I could see maybe smaller things sticking out more over a few watches. Maybe some bits of it wouldn't be as awesome, but having seen it a few times and enjoying it each time,
Yeah.
and really digging its weirdness and digging how it just doesn't fit in with a lot of other horror movies of the time or now.
No.
It just doesn't fit. It's just weird and an outlier. It makes me really enjoy it. And I don't know, what did I give Session 9? What did I give it, like a 9 or something?
No, I don't think you rated that high, did you?
8?
Oh, you just edited the show. You know better than me.
Yeah, I don't remember even. I would say this is a better movie than Session 9.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
And it's only a couple years older than Session 9. I think it'll hold up for what it is. Like, looking back on it, people still
it's not dated at all.
Yeah,
no.
and people will still be able to say, like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It'll be
always
weird
going to
for a long
stand
time.
out as weird. Yeah. So, for me, I don't know. I think maybe it's just like an 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's a high one for me.
I back that. Yeah, this is one of those ones that, like I said, was such a pleasant surprise, and especially after seeing that just piece of shit trailer.
Yeah.
This movie really swept me off my feet. Where it's like,
it's
as soon as the
actually
movie
probably
starts,
a good thing you watched the trailer, and
Maybe.
I told you it was better than that, so you forced yourself through it because the trailer set your expectations so low.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. Though, is like, you know, as much as I make fun of the trailer for this, I don't know how I would make a trailer for this either.
No, I don't either. Yeah, because what can you show? There's not a lot you can show.
Yeah.
But the trailer showed so much and put it in a different context entirely.
Absolutely so, yeah. And it's like, I feel like if it was a bunch of clips trying to show how dark and how philosophical and how humorous this movie is, intercut with some of that weird-ass soundtrack stuff out of context, you would probably look at a trailer that was made correctly and be like, this looks like a mess.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know how you make a trailer for this. So I'm not sure. But yeah, going into it with those expectations of like knowing that, you know, a lot of hardcore, like really, you know, horror fans that have great taste really like this movie.
Yeah.
I had high expectations. That trailer made my expectations vanish.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got into this movie, I was like, well, either way, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
You know? Because when you know it's coming from hardcore horror fans, like, you don't expect that intro of Eat Me
No.
and wackadoo credits and shit
No,
like that.
you don't expect that.
No. So this, to me, is one of the most pleasant surprises I've had doing this show and has become one of my favorites.
Awesome.
You know? I think this is I'm going to say this is like a 9.
Awesome.
For me.
Yeah.
I'll totally watch again. Beautiful sets and costumes, too, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Absolutely gorgeous sets. Yeah, fucking killer movie. I can't wait to watch this one again. I heard that there's also, if you buy like the DVD, there's like 4 different commentary tracks. That are all apparently insane.
I would love to hear those.
Yeah. One of them is with Ives.
Okay.
Well, or, you know, Robert Carlyle, as he's known.
Yeah.
One's with like the writer, one's with one of the directors, and something else. So I would really, really, really like to listen to those sometimes.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Because I could not find enough about the backs, like behind the scenes stuff that was going on. All of the stuff I read was just like, that is so fucking crazy.
No kidding,
what?
Man. That's the one thing I miss about, like, you know, renting movies on Amazon and stuff is like,
right, you get all the commentary tracks and stuff,
if I'd have rented this on a disc from the Food City DVD store, I would have had access to that. Yeah, so I really do wish.
It's not even like it would be a
put them on there.
huge like difficulty to add.
No, are you kidding?
I guess. Yeah, there might be a lot of rights issues and stuff involved with that, where you'd have to, because like I imagine with a lot of commentary tracks, they didn't think to include in the like agreement you signed like streaming rights, because it was
that didn't exist back then. Yeah, because that's the thing is sometimes you'll rent a movie on Amazon. Like if you rent like the Avengers, it's like fucking 8 hours long. Yeah, because they put all the special features at the end.
Yeah, you can just fast forward through them. Yeah,
that's so fucking stupid. You can't tell me there's not a better format for that.
There are easily other options to this.
Yeah, that when you rent the movie on Amazon or buy the movie on Amazon or whatever you use, that it can't pop up like the fucking DVD screen where you can choose setup, subtitles, audio. Like you can't tell me that's not possible. That would be very simple
to do. I feel like
yeah. So one day I'll watch this with commentary tracks and probably end up loving it even more. Now, Steve, next week we already said we're going to be doing Krampus. Getting in that Crimbus spirit.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys break out some good hard and heavy eggnog and enjoy that movie this week to get ready
if
for
you
the
haven't
episode
seen
next week.
Krampus, for sure watch it. If you have seen
It's fun.
Krampus, it's a good time to watch it.
Good time to watch it.
Yeah.
That's right, man. So we'll be talking about that one next week. In the meantime, be sure to rate and review on iTunes. I've not seen enough reviews. I've been asking
Where the
for
reviews
them.
at, I
I've been
say?
calling for them reviews. Where my hoes at? Where my reviews at?
I've been looking for them in the daytime with a flashlight.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere
huh?
to be found?
Not nowhere.
Nary a review.
Yeah, we need to find them. You guys provide them. Go on that iTunes, rate and review. It just takes a second. Steve, where can they follow us on the interweb?
At Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/Dead and Lovely. That's the Dead and Lovely Facebook group. We're on all sorts of stuff.
Instagram.
Yeah, that's
First
at
bird.
Dead Lovely Pod. You can email us at deadandlovelypod@gmail.com. If you want a t-shirt, email us what size you want and your address. I'll email you back a total. You pay us on PayPal. I mail you a shirt. I've been doing it now for weeks. It's fun. I've gotten so close to the people at the post office.
You don't say.
Yeah, I got a girlfriend there and a boyfriend. It's fun.
Wow. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, huh?
Yeah.
That's good to know. It's good to know. Bringing people together. Dead and
Finally.
Lovely.
Also, Patreon.
Give us your money.
Boom, boom, boom. This movie we just covered.
Yeah.
Last movie we covered and the next movie we're covering were all Patreon suggestions.
You goddamn right.
Yeah. So you become a $5 patron. That movie you've been wanting us to cover, we'll probably get to it in no time. We've covered so many Patreon suggestions.
Yeah, since
so
we
far.
started doing this, it's been great. And it's cool,
Yeah,
too,
because you guys have the best taste.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, you like the best podcasts in this multiverse and beyond.
Obviously.
Plus, y'all happen to like some good movies. And we like doing movies that you guys are going to listen to.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a win-win situation.
It's a win for all of us.
Yep. We're all winners. All are welcome.
All are welcome.
Well, hope you guys are having a jolly Crimbus season. We'll be catching up with you guys next week when we cover Krampus. So be sure to tune in for that one. Well, you guys have been fantastic. We have been Uncle Ben.
Hollywood Steve.
And we're Dead and Lovely, and we'll see you guys next week. All right, Steve, I'd like to humor you for a moment here.
Humor me.
I'm going to give you a couple great, not corny, cannibal jokes in celebration of this movie.
Let's hear 'em.
Hey, you didn't have to give me the cold shoulder, said the cannibal who was late to dinner.
Wow.
Because the food wasn't warm anymore. And
Right,
they were
yeah.
eating
It
a literal
cooled,
shoulder.
probably cooled off. Probably
Yeah.
because, like, because, like, you know,
could
that's
say
how
that
he works.
at like a non-cannibal barbecue, though, if it was like a pork shoulder.
yeah.
Give me the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Two cannibals were eating a clown. One cannibal turned to the other and asked, "Does this taste a bit funny to you?" I don't really know that
'cause
someone's sense of
clowns-
humor would make their meat taste different, though.
Well, but, like, the silly pretty much permeates the clown. I would think the meat would taste a little sillier.
It's like how the fear spoils the meat and the lamb and stuff.
Yeah, the silly makes it taste goofy.
So do you think you want to eat like a really serious person? They taste better?
Yeah,
Less
probably.
funny?
Yeah, because they, like, concentrate on making sure they taste, like, consistent.
This meat tastes serious. Cannibal wife, honey, why do you think I wanted a subscription to People magazine? Husband, oh, I'm sorry, dear. I thought it was a cookbook.
Oh, boy.
That was good, right?
See, because it's called People, and he eats people.
These people, yeah.
Right. So it'd be like somebody mixing up a book called Cows for a cookbook.
Yeah.
So it's like solid joke.
I think it's pretty well crafted.
Yeah. Like, oh, I see you got a book here called Chickens. Must be about cooking.
Got to be a cookbook about chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.